Basically, of 30 chapters, 29 are arguably about rules. So we can't possibly cover everything in one 90-minute panel. So today might look like a little bit of a dog's breakfast, but it's not. There's logic behind the topics that we've chosen. We wanted to focus on topics that are either commercially significant, novel, or politically controversial, or more likely some combination of those three. And I think we've done a pretty good job. That's how we came up with customs, rule of origin, investment and investor-state dispute settlement, labor, government procurement, and state-owned enterprises. So let me quickly tell you about the panelists that we have to describe each of those topics. Nicole Bivens Collinson will talk about customs and rule of origin. Nicole leads the international trade and government relations practice at Sandler, Travis, and Rosenberg. She is among the real experts on this quite technical area, but really goes to the heart of the benefits that companies can derive from this agreement. Clearance procedures at the border, what it takes to be an originating good. These are important questions, and Nicole is going to help us understand them. Ambassador Sean Donnelly from the U.S. Council of International Business is going to talk about the investment chapter and investor-state dispute settlement. Obviously, this topic has attracted a great deal of attention politically, substantively very important to the companies who will be investing in TPP countries. Sean will tell us what's new in TPP and how the balance has been achieved between protection for investors and discretion for governments to regulate. Claude Fontheim is an expert on trade and labor policy. He serves on the board of numerous organizations, including Global Works Foundation, the U.S. Bangladesh Advisory Council, and the Center for International Private Enterprise, which is one of the 4 core institutes of the National Endowment for Democracy. Claude is going to focus on the labor chapter, and I hope a little bit on the labor consistency plans that have been negotiated with 3 of the TPP partners, excuse me, 2 of the TPP partners, if I'm correct, and we'll talk about that issue. Jean Heilman-Greer, very fortunate to have Jean. There's no one who knows more about government procurement than she does. Before she entered into private practice, she was the lead procurement negotiator at USTR for 10 years. I know I relied on her when I was on the National Security Council staff. She's terrific, and if you hear a wailing and gnashing of teeth, it's over at USTR because they're still not quite sure what to do without her. Derek Scissors is a resident scholar at the American Enterprise Institute. He is going to give his evaluation of the chapter on state-owned enterprise. This fits in the category of being novel. Derek is really among the most thoughtful and thought-provoking experts in this field. Yes, he's at AEI, I guess that's center-right, but I can tell you that when Derek writes a piece or when he's quoted in the media, policymakers across the spectrum listen to what he has to say. So it's a terrific panel. Without further ado, let me turn it over to Nicole for her presentation.
Great. Thanks, Michael. Welcome, all of you. You know, Thursdays are what? TBT, right? Throwback Thursdays? Well, today, for me, it's TPP Thursday because as soon as I finish here, I'm headed over to the US ITC. So all those of you who cannot get enough of TPP, there's hearings going on all day today at the US ITC. They went on all day yesterday, and they'll be going on all day tomorrow. So it's definitely TPP Thursday for me. So I'm going to talk I'm getting into details, but it's really high level when you talk about the rules of origin. The rules of origin, and this is particularly for goods. So my services friends and my services providers, a lot of these you're not having to deal with, but many of the products that are moving back and forth are actual hard goods. And so that's when we look at the rules of origin. This is the crux of what's going to happen. Your good either qualifies and you get duty free, or it doesn't qualify and you pay duty. And that's significant. And those determinations are going to be made at the border by the customs officials, either in the United States or in Japan or in Australia or one of the other countries. So knowing how those work is absolutely key for being able to benefit under the agreement. Many of the rules of origin, unfortunately, in my opinion, were rolled over from basically NAFTA. There are many of the rules of origin that have not changed since 1994. Now, I kind of giggle when people talk about the 21st century agreement. I'm like, well, yeah, we're in the 21st century. If you were trying to give an agreement that was future-looking, it would be a 22nd agreement, 22nd century agreement, but we're not there. And we're clearly not there because we're still using a lot of rules that were in place back in 1994 from the NAFTA agreement. And in particular, I've seen this in, I know there's changes in the automotive chapter, and I can talk about that. But there's in the textiles and apparel chapter, sunglasses. I mean, and when you think about how things have changed and how global value chains have changed, the rules don't reflect what's happening in business today. It is better. I like the TPP, and the reason is because we finally link some of these FTAs. We've had all of our FTAs completely siloed. You have an FTA with the US and Australia. Only those two countries can participate. You have an FTA with US and Singapore. Only those two countries can participate. At least now, we've linked some of our existing free trade partners, and we've pulled in a few more. So it's better.